What up, it's your boy T-Burn Reaction, today's music and movies Monday. Now we back to the music part as we going to take a look at one of my a new video from the homie L Train Luke of Location, best known for showing techniques of beat making as well as breaking down stories of iconic beat makers, iconic eras of beat making, machines that was made for producing and beat making as well too, and many other. This one highlights one of my all-time favorite hip-hop producer of all time, the one and only DJ Premier. This is called How a Houston DJ Became New York's go-to producer, and I always gotta be reminded that he was originally from Houston as well too. I mean, he got started with Gang Starr. He was based in New York, but a lot of people may not know or forget like me that he was from Houston. So we'll get the story behind the one and only iconic hip hop producer, one of the boom bap legend, DJ Premier. You know, mom cannot stand his production style because she feels it's repetitive, but I love it. It's the underground boom bap style. But other than that, that birthed a lot of producers down the line, such as Alchemist, Conductor, and many others. Man, wait, let's get it.
You know a DJ Premier beat almost immediately.
Yep.
The raw drums, those distinctive, tightly chopped samples, and scratched vocal hooks that could turn a handful of borrowed words into the most memorable part of a record. It was a formula he developed alongside Guru and Gang Starr, then tailored for Nas, Biggie, Jay-Z, and some of New York's biggest rappers. But the producer who helped define the sound of New York hip-hop had grown up more than 1,500 miles away in Houston. This is the story of how DJ Premier found his formula and became the producer every great rapper wanted to work with.
Born in Houston, Texas. My mother's from Baltimore, Maryland. My father's from South Carolina.
Christopher Martin was raised in a home where art and music were part of his everyday life.
My mother taught art every day from our hallway, which leads to our bedrooms, to our family room. As soon as you open the hallway door, she has an easel with a blank canvas and she's painting, playing her vinyl. I was born in '66, so anybody from that generation all the way up to when rap started to evolve, we were enjoying what our parents were playing. All the records from Aretha Franklin to Curtis Mayfield to The Emotions, Minnie Riperton, Barry White, Al Green, you know, everything Motown. All that stuff was like the building blocks.
And although he lived in Houston, New York was already a familiar part of Premier's childhood.
My mother's father lived in Brooklyn, so we used to go visit him all the time. Took me to the World Trade Center, the Empire State Building. So I did all of that early to where by the time I was 13, I said, I'm definitely gonna move here.
During those visits, he encountered a culture that had barely begun to spread beyond the city.
My grandfather took me to Times Square, and all the B-boys used to be breaking for money. The Rocksteady crew was one of the first people that I saw, and I was just like, man, this is ill.
The first day of school, you gotta do the, what did you do this summer? I'm explaining this thing with the guy rapping with the mic and scratching, and everybody's like, that doesn't even make sense. It's almost like I saw a UFO. I'm like, yes, I did. Those dudes were spinning on their back, and a guy was rubbing the record, and then the other guys on the microphone going, yes, yes, y'all, you don't stop.
By the time
It's crazy that, you know, people didn't believe what folks see, and then now they just stand there and starve that, and, you know, as opposed to the folks down, was probably kicking himself now.
When he arrived at Prairie View A&M in 1984, that fascination had begun turning into practice.
I started off just knowing how to blend. I didn't have any turntables. Friends of mine had the equipment, they would let me use theirs because I had the records. Let me learn on your stuff, I'll bring the records to your parties. But I'm about to start my freshman year in college in 1984, and they were doing a party outside the Memorial Center, and I see this little skinny guy, he's scratching 5 minutes of funk by Houdini.
I walked in, and I probably won't leave until the thing ends. But
and I just remember he kept going. Now the party didn't stop till I walked in. Now the party, after he was done, I was like, yo, who are you? Will you teach me how to do that?
As his skills as a DJ developed, Marley Marl's productions made him want to understand how the records themselves were being made.
Marley Marl,
When it came to
man.
Marley, that's when I was like, I want to learn how to make beats. I remember Run DMC and Dana Dane came to our college to perform.
Oh, okay.
And during the break, when they're setting up the equipment, just remember, I thought it was called The Break. It sounded like it was going, the break, the break, the break.
Wow. And yo, it's always crazy. Imagine, like, you know, you have guys like that coming to your college back then. You know, we got hip hoppers like around the 2000. When I was in college, around 2000 and all of that, came to school at. I went to my friend, best friends at college when Tyler Coley performed and all that as well. So, but damn, imagine being college. We had guys, had the likes of Run DMC, LL Cool J, and all them coming to your college. That's gotta be an awesome moment right there, yo, for real, man. Lucky. Glad it's right there.
Break the break.
Oh, yeah.
At Prairie View, Premier formed his first group, MCs in Control,
Okay.
alongside Top Ski, Sugar Pop, and Styly T.
Okay.
During a summer in Brooklyn, a neighbor gave him a crash course in the equipment they needed to begin making demos.
My man Skeet, he used to let me borrow his 4-track, taught me how to work it, and I was like, oh, I can overlap my beats. So I would actually cut the beat for like 5 minutes nonstop. Then the next track, I'd lay a horn or whatever, or a little scratch, and now I have 4 tracks of everything, and then I'd get Top to rap on it.
Back in Houston, his search for hip-hop records regularly brought him to Soundwaves, a shop known for carrying the latest 12 inches from New York. Premier wanted almost everything it stocked, however, affording it was another matter.
They had all the ill 12 inches of anything that I wanted, but I would change the prices on them before I'd go up to the counter to ring up the records, and he caught me.
The employee who caught him was Carlos Garza.
He was like, yo,
Ooh,
man,
okay.
I know you changed the prices. I ain't gonna say nothing, but why you doing that? And that's how we got cool. And they got me a job there.
Billboard was just starting a rap chart. So Carlos became the reporter for that region of the South to report what's popping and what's selling. Stu Fine, that owned Wild Pitch Records, was calling to see how my record's moving.
Okay.
Carlos says, man, there's this guy that's coming to New York you really gotta check out.
By then, Premier and Top had recorded a homemade cassette demo. Premier still didn't think it was ready to be heard outside their circle.
Okay.
Carlos disagreed.
Carlos copied my cassette tape demo and snuck it to New York, which I didn't know he was gonna do because he kept trying to get me to do it anyway, and I was like, no, I'm not ready. I'm not on that level yet. And all of a sudden, he's like, man, I gotta tell you something. I sent that cassette, but they like it.
Guru was the one that used to go through the shoebox of demos that got sent to him.
Oh.
And he heard my demo.
Guru liked what he heard and passed the cassette on to Wild Pitch founder Stu Fine. The cassette featured Premier alongside friend and MC Top Ski.
He heard our demo. He said, I like you, I don't like your MC. Stu was like, his voice is just not working.
At the same time, the original version of Gangstar was falling apart.
Guru was looking for a new DJ at the time because the other 2 members were having it out. Guru was like, yo, we gotta get Premier. I was like, if I can't bring Top, I'm not gonna do it. Top was just frustrated with how long it was taking, and he said, man, I'm going to the military. I called Stu and said, hey, man, Top just went to the military for 4 years, and I'm by myself. He's like, we want you in Gangstar.
With Top gone, Premier accepted the offer and moved to New York. Gangstar had already released singles before Premier joined, and Guru had considerably more studio experience.
Guru said, you're not getting half of the money if you're just gonna scratch on the albums. You gotta learn how to either produce it. And I was like, well, what does a producer actually do? He said, you do the tracks and mix it. And I'm like, what's mixing? Did the first album together. I didn't know how to make beats sharp yet.
Oh, wow.
So it was me, Shlomo Sonnenfeld, who owned the studio, Such a Sound. The 3 of us would be on the SP1200. I'll do the snare, and we'd be side by side, and I'll go, ta, ta, and I'll go, yo, you hit that. And Guru hit the, and we'd be like, yeah, that sounds good, high five. Shlomo, you do the 808.
Okay.
Boom, 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 listen
Nice.
back. All right, just lay that down.
Their first record together was Words I Manifest.
I just remember Stu Fine calling, going, Marley's playing it right now. If Red Alert or Marley Marl was playing your record, I don't care what, you made it.
While many hip-hop producers were still mining James Brown's catalogue, Premier began looking towards the jazz records he'd grown up hearing at home. And those jazz samples became one of the group's early signatures. After jazz music,
Jazz music.
and their contribution to Spike Lee's Mo Better Blues,
And all the listeners' ears, fulfilling the needs and planting the seeds of a jazz thing.
labels and critics increasingly categorized Gangstar as jazz rap. Their second album, Step in the Area, followed in 1991.
The first single was Just to Get a Rep, which was some grimy hardcore shit. And they were like, no, we want something like jazz thing. So they thought our whole album was gonna be based on that. So that's when I started rebelling, where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start stripping things down and just making everything raw, crazy. I started to just do less and started just doing what we call stabs. Stab is just a bump, bump, bam, bam. Sometimes it was just bam, and the rest of it was just an all drum beat with a DJ going off.
Gang Starr were developing at a time when hip-hop groups were expected to record at an almost yearly pace. The third album was Daily Operation.
Come 92, when we did Daily Operation, that's when I was like, I got a sound. Because King of Chill just let me come to his mom's house to learn it. He was like, I got one that you can learn on, but you gotta bring your own drum machine. So I bought a little Alessa's drum machine, and he would just let me practice on it, and then I finally started to tap out with the beats to the where I was like, I'm definitely got it now.
For much of that period, Premier and Guru were also roommates, living together as they made Gang Starr's
that's humble, man. He's Alessa's like that. That's humble begins right there.
first 4 albums.
Guru always let me do really left field tracks, and he would rhyme on them. He wasn't like, oh man, I can't rhyme to this. He was always willing to, go left field.
Every album allowed Premier to test new ideas, hear how they worked beside Guru's voice, and then refine them on the next record.
Hard to Earn, 1993. Really was like, bring on any artist, I'll take any artist and I'll turn them into a hot record.
And through this whole period, Premier and Guru had developed a distinctive way of working together.
Guru always gives me every title to the entire album, and then he'll put little descriptions like, he'll put Mass Appeal, this should be the single. It's about how radio does this and rappers soften up. So I was like, oh, we should make a little funny little elevator type loop. I was making fun of what music had to sound like in order to get played on radio.
Yup. Yeah, but it came out in 94, as I thought.
A beat designed to parody radio-friendly rap became one of Gang Starr's defining records. The DJ who had arrived in New York asking what mixing meant had developed a sound that could be recognized before the rapper even entered. And now, the rest of New York wanted that sound too.
Yep.
Right, quick break before we get back into the story. One of the things I love most about DJ Premier is the way he can hear potential in the smallest parts of a record and transform it into something completely new. That same idea of giving producers something they can make their own is at the heart of Loop Kitchen. We make samples.
Premier's cutting game is fire, yo, man. His chop game is just crazy, yo.
Packs for producers and beat makers filled with original soulful compositions that you can chop, flip, or build a whole track around. And here's one we chopped earlier.
How you do his Premier style.
Right now, all our packs are buy one, get one free with the code 2 of the best yet. And if you're a producer or beat maker looking for a community of like-minded people, come and join the Loop Kitchen Discord too. We've got feedback channels, beat battles, weekly cook-ups, and loads of friendly chat with producers at every level. And the links to the packs and the Discord are in the description. By the early 1990s, D&D Studio had become Premier's main creative base. It was where Gang Starr made records, where young rappers brought their demos, and where a wider circle began forming around the sound Premier and Guru had developed together.
That's how it led to Guru saying, yo, we should start Gang Starr Foundation, and he said we should both sign 3 artists. He said, I want J. Rue, Group Home, and Suge. He said, who do you think should go first? I said, J. Rue's the one that's ready.
Premier began working on Jeru's demo while Gang Starr were touring Daily Operation and preparing to make Hard to Earn.
When we did this beat, it actually came from when we were doing the Daily Operation tour. Every sound check, I used to cut up Onyx. Uh-oh, heads up, because we're dropping some shit over and over and over just to warm up the turntable.
Heads up, because we're dropping our hit on you now. Shy Skills, Onyx record.
We was like, we should do a record with that as a hook. And I'm like, all right, let me build something around that. I ran into a record by a drummer named Shelly Manne. For some reason, at the very end of that record, there's a small little interlude called Space. And I heard that water drop sound.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Automatically, my ear just said, with hard drums, I can make a banger out of it.
Jump up and get bucked. If you're feeling lucky duck, then press your luck. I snatch
When the record took off, Payday Records offered Giroux a deal on the condition that Premier produced the entire album. Premier followed it with Group Home's Living Proof. He was no longer simply making beats for Gang Starr. He was building albums and developing a wider family of artists around the sound. But that sound was also beginning to travel beyond the foundation.
What really kicked it in, honestly, was when KRS-One called and said, yo, I want to work on an album. It's going to be called Return of the Boom Bap.
Back in the days I knew.
The impressive KRS-One low-key on point right there. That's how he talks. That is how he talks, man. Yo, that KRS was on point.
The calls just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming and kept coming, and it just, went from there.
And the rappers coming to Premier didn't all
I knew he
sound
did,
like Guru,
Audi. I knew he did,
or Group Home. His challenge was finding the version of his production that belongs
Nah, I didn't know he did Out of Here by KRS-One. I know he did what's his? I know he did MC Act Like No, but I knew he did. Yep, he did that. He did that. Okay, I knew he did MC Act Like They Don't Know. That was definitely his. I knew it from Well, I knew it for sure already. For one, and two, he did that on his Salute to Floppy Disk. That's What's Up. Yeah. That's. I think. Yeah, he produced that joint. Yep. But yeah, I knew about the MC Like No because I recognized his style and he did that on the so That's What's Up. Salute to Floppy Disk. Yep.
specifically to whoever was standing in front of him.
Everybody that knows my formula is I like to make the beat. It's like cooking you dinner. Come by and I'll cook you something. Guru always said in interviews, DJ Premier is a beat tailor. He will tailor it to you.
That approach placed Premier alongside Large Professor, Pete Rock, and Q-Tip on Nas's debut album, Illmatic.
In New York State of Mind, I just envisioned his voice. His voice sounded like it would sound good over those tracks. And
yes, say Fat Five because the fifth member was like the or more of like a 6-man, but the 5th man was LES. The main was Q-Tip, Large Professor, P Rock, and Premier. Yep.
Every time I gave it to him, he's like, "That's it, and then he would write.
All-time top favorites album.
Another young Brooklyn rapper had been asking Premier for a beat for years. By the time Biggie was finishing Ready to Die, he needed one final street record.
Unbelievable was me telling him I don't have time to do a record with you, because he was like, I just need one more. He was just like, yo, I don't care if it's impeach the president, just make me just something. I was like, you know what? Meet me at D&D. He came. I just had one note, and I just tuned him to different keys and just started playing around with him. And he was like, yo, do that, do that.
Yep. Explain it on So What's Up.
After it was all done, he was like, yo, you should take the R. Kelly. When he said it's unbelievable, cut that. I'm like, man, it might not be in key. He said, just try it anyway. I did it. I was like, that shit fits.
Unbelievable became Premier's first gold single. Then came Jay-Z.
He told me what to scratch. He told me how the rhyme pattern was going to go and where he wants me to put everything. All the scratches came from him.
That's what I like to hear right there. Like that the artists have the input on the beat as well too. It ain't just the beat throwing in, the artists had a little input on the beat. So that's why I always say that I give props to the rappers for having the great beat, because they kind of there's the person making the beat, they have some contribution with it because it's to fit with them. So there you have it. Especially with Cover G's career.
Whether he was guiding a new artist through an entire album or contributing one record to an established rapper's project, Premier's production remained unmistakable. The work outside Gang Starr was accelerating, but the group itself remained active. And their next album would bring everything he'd learned back into Gang Starr.
1994, 5, 6, and 7. Nothing. Taking a 4-year break is risky, especially if you want to come back out strong and hopefully gain the same fan base that built you.
I forgot the album they came back on was their first goal. I forgot about that.
Our fan base stayed loyal. They were hungry and ready for
this
the
is
next
from
thing
So
we
What's Up.
brought.
When they reunited for Gang Starr's 5th album, The circumstances surrounding it gave the record a deeper weight.
Both going through a rough time. Yeah, I said this should be called Moment of Truth. You're facing a 5-year jail bid, and I'm going through a lot of people that were dying in my life that was just having me off point with how I was feeling.
And the album had to carry that pressure while reintroducing Gang Starr after 4 years away.
First single had to be a banger.
Yup.
Once you know my Steez,
My
once he told me
Steez,
that was
yup.
the name of it, first thing came to my mind, scratch-wise, was
Man.
Method Man when he said his verse on GZA's joint, Shadowboxing.
Punching like a nephew. You know my stage.
Yeah.
To a third degree.
That beat soft.
These scratches is gonna be worked into a dope hook.
You know my stage.
Let them know, do your thing.
As I was developing the rest of the hook, I just heard Flavor Flav's voice somewhere in the record. And when I was thinking about where to place it, I said the beat has to stop and then start back again. And in the stop part, I would scratch something with Flavor Flav's voice.
The beat is sinister.
You Know My Steez returned to the sharp production and scratch vocal hooks that had made Premier's sound unmistakable. Across the album, Premier brought everything he had learned through Giroux, Group Home, Nas, Biggie, and Jay-Z back into the partnership where his sound had first developed. It was recognisably Gang Starr, but way more confident.
We kept still doing how we do it. Cause I'm a fan of music anyway, so I'm like, if we supported you in what you do and we're fans, keep feeding us stuff that we love. I want you to anticipate that the next thing that we deliver is gonna be still what you expect from us. It updates, but still it sounds like us.
And for years, Guru had watched other major groups receive the commercial recognition that had eluded Gang Starr.
He used to tear the crib up about everybody's going platinum and gold, and we should have been gold like everybody. That we just as good as them. I'm like, one day it's gonna happen. Moment of Truth goes gold.
Yup.
He was the happiest kid in the room.
Gang Starr had finally received the recognition Guru believed they deserved. Nearly a decade after they first met, their partnership had produced its defining statement. Released in 2003, The Owners became the final Gang Starr album made during Guru's lifetime. After their last tour, the two followed separate paths.
Our last tour ended like 2004, probably almost a good 4 years. At that point, he was just like, yo, I want to do other things. He never said Gang Starr was broken up, and we never have.
Years later, Guru became seriously ill.
I got to see him in the hospital. When I go in there, I had brought my Gang Starr shirt, and I brought the Moment of Truth CD. I took the shirt, unraveled it, laid it across his chest. I was like, yo, this is forever. You know, you live for this. This is forever. And I just laid it on his chest for a minute. Yeah, I kissed him right on it by his mouth, even with the crusty lips and everything, and just said, I love you, and we got you. We got your son. We're gonna make sure he's good.
Guru died in April 2010, before the two could properly reconcile. 9 years later, Premier returned to Gang Starr with one of the best yet, constructed from a collection of unreleased Guru recordings.
There were sessions that already existed prior to me. Someone may have a hook, and someone may have a verse, and then I had to sift through them to go, that one I could definitely flip. And then some of them are just one verses, so I'm like, who can I get to collab and make it where it seems like they did it together? And honestly, the whole album sounds like he was in the room to do it that day.
Diamonds are forever like family, and loyalty on real rap songs like cream on my melody.
3 decades earlier, Guru had discovered Premier through a homemade demo. Now Premier was listening through Guru's unfinished recordings. It was a final reversal of the process that had created Gang Starr, and proof of how completely Premier understood the production language that they had built together.
Premier actually created a formula. Premier made a formula that works every time. He created his own formula. Every time you play one of his tracks, you could tell it's Premier.
He originally came to New York trying to understand how his favorite records were made. With Gang Starr, he found a sound of his own and created records that generations of producers would spend decades trying to understand themselves. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to go a little bit deeper into the records, producers, samples and equipment that have shaped hip-hop and music history, I'm putting all the extra material from the Behind the Records series over on Patreon. That includes bonus research, extended cuts, playlists, radio episodes, and all sorts of stories that don't quite make it into the final videos. You can join for free so you don't miss any future videos, or support the channel to unlock all of the deeper extras. And the link for that is in the description. And
Oh, that was a good one, yo. Shout out to L Kitchen, man. L Train, man. L Blue Kitchen, man. He always come through with some good videos like this stuff as well too. I still am amazed at that Fatboy Slim one. That was a good story as well for sure. But this one was a great story, especially seeing how everything went full circle with him getting his demos searched out by Guru. Then after Guru passed, he searched through his demos to add to their final album together. The posthumous album of Guru. But other than that, this was a good moment. And then, in between how, he got noticed from other artists and stuff as well. So, yeah, other than that, if you like my reaction to this, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's your boy T-Bear signing off. One love.